You're listening to the Crew Book Club podcast, the show that challenges you to change your mindset through hearing about dope books. Thanks for hanging with the crew to get advice, ask questions, and gain knowledge with me, your host, Sade Hill. What up, crew? What's good? Welcome to another episode of the Crew Book Club podcast. As always, I'm excited to be here. It's your host, your girl, the Sade Hill. And it's only February and things are on and popping. Listen, I cannot wait. Next week, I will be hosting a room at the Owner Suite event with the Jacksonville Woman. You can get your ticket. The link is in the show notes, so do not hesitate. I want to meet you. I want to be with you. I want to interact with you, and I cannot wait to do this. This is something outside of me putting on, and to be invited into this space is absolutely amazing. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I had put on my goal list this year, and I'm already accomplishing that in February. Like, you can't tell me nothing right now, okay? I've embraced being uncomfortable. I love being uncomfortable. I love that it's challenging me and catapulting me, and this is only gonna go up from here, crew. I'm trying to tell you, okay? All right, so if you miss the mastermind that we had in December, we will be having another one. So you can stay on track. You can also order the link to the mastermind book, the first one that we had, because they're all going to be attached and they're going to become one big volume for the year of 2023. So don't fall behind. Order yours right now. That link is in the show note as well. And I'm just hyped. I'm super, super hyped for this. And God is so good. That's all I got to say. Which is going into the segment, who gonna check me, boo? God is. He is always checking us because we deserve a good check. Yes, I welcome a good check. And earlier last week, I posted on IG, stop being concerned with people that don't show love and kindness when they can't show love to themselves. And that was inspired by the scripture in Galatians chapter 6, verse 3. And it said, if someone thinks they are something they are not, they deceive themselves, okay? It's like that scripture was like, ew, okay? Because especially, I work in an industry, especially real estate, where people be walking around, and I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't always feel, it's like, they feel like they got to keep their secrets to themselves. And it's just like, okay, child, like there's enough business out here for everybody. And I can't be so concerned with them because that's how they want to move. You want to move out of scarcity, move out of scarcity, but whatever. And then I read this statistic a friend of mine posted, there's only 6% of Black realtors and things of that nature. And they're pushing those things. And then one side of me was just like, yeah, we deal with that in all aspects of our lives as Blacks, and especially being a Black woman. And at the same time, it's just like, you know what God I serve? If God want me to have something, I'm going to have it, okay? Regardless of what percent of what society says. So I'm going to stay grounded in that. And then there was these other scriptures in Galatians. Galatians was hidden, okay? It was chapter 6, verses 4 through 5. And it said, each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Basically, y'all, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. And I'm not saying that you can't. We're not here to help other people. We're here to help other people, but not throw stones, okay? And also, you can't be telling somebody to do one thing and you're not even doing it. So that scripture really hit too. Another one was Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. It said, let us not become weary in doing good. For the proper time, we will reap a harvest if you don't give up. And that all just tied together in everything that I was experiencing and hearing last week. People working out of scarcity, or people being so concerned, like, oh, I'm Black and I have to go against this, or, worrying about what other people are doing instead of their own actions. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, God, if people just focused on you and continue to do good and reap their own harvest in time, it will happen. And if we just don't give up. So I want to encourage you, crew, to keep going, doing your thing, be loving, be kind, give, because that is what Jesus would do. What, remember the band? What would Jesus do? I want us to get back to that. What would Jesus do? And let's operate off of that space, out of that space. Okay. Woo, yes, I'm so hyped. Before I got on here, I had this beautiful call about the event that's coming up on the 18th with partnership with the Jacksonville Woman, and I'm just super excited. So I'm just bringing all that energy to you all. And I want y'all to know, one of the best things about doing this pod is because I read the books you should read but don't have the time to. So you can listen to this podcast without necessarily reading the book. Because I'm going to do I'm your personal reader. That's what my friend said. You're like a personal reader. Like, you know how people have personal shoppers? I'm your personal reader. So I'm going to read all the books. You're going to come up here and you're going to listen to the podcast. And you're going to get all the nuggets and juice from the book without even having to read it. My God. Won't he do it? Okay. The cool thing is we have a partnership with Audible. So you can listen to the book as well on audible.com. You can get 30 days of their premium experience for free because of the crew. You know, I got you, crew love. That link will be in the show notes as well. Okay. So let's just go ahead and hop into our book, The One Thing. Y'all, if you on YouTube, you can see this book has been through it. Yes, I love it. I read my books. I don't just look at them. The paper ripped on the cover. It got coffee stains. I highlighted the mess out of it. These books gonna be worth some money one day, but they're gonna alter my children. All right, so we're getting into chapter 12, The Path to Great Answers. And then we're going to start part 3, like a little introduction, the extraordinary results, unlocking the possibilities within you. Y'all, it's all within us. Okay. So chapter 12, The Path to Great Answers. Yes. I want you to imagine, which it's like a quadrant of circle. And one of the opening quotes of the book, it says, people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decides their future. I love that quote. The thing is, when you go to the next page, like we talked about last week about the focus in question, and the focus in question was, if y'all remember, I'll remind you, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary, right? And it talked about asking the right questions. And I gave the example of when an attorney is in the court and they're talking to the witness, you want to make sure you're asking the right questions to get the verdict that you need. This is the same thing. So if you're on the YouTube, you can see it, but I'm going to try to explain it to my listeners. Imagine a circle and think of 4 quadrants and splitting it up. And then one section, and I'm just like the book, we're going to use the example of money, of making some money. Okay. It says here, in the first quadrant, which is going to be on the top right, is going to say, what can I do to double sales in 6 months? And then it's going to be quadrant 2, what can I do to double sales? In quadrant 3, what can I do to increase sales? And in quadrant 4, what can I do to increase sales by 5% this year? Now, it breaks it down in the book. Quadrant 4 represents small and specific. What can I do to increase sales by 5% this year? It says this aims you to a specific direction, but there's nothing truly challenging about this question. For most salespeople, a 5% bump in sales could just as easily happen because the market shifted in your favor rather than anything you might have done. So a boost in 5% sales could be, if you're selling ice cream, it was hotter, longer days than most days, which people started to crave ice cream. I don't know. Or maybe a TikTok video went viral about a specific ice cream and you're selling that ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was really no real effort into increasing the 5%. Okay. Quadrant 3 is small and broad. It says, what can I do to increase sales? Listen, y'all, it says this is not really an achievement question at all. It's more of a brainstorming question. It's great for listing your options, but requires more to narrow your options and go small. Okay? Quadrant 2 is big and broad. What can I do to double sales? Here you have a big question, but nothing specific. It's a good start, but the lack of specifics leaves more questions than answers. Okay? This is where you go. Quadrant 1, big and specific. And I run into this a lot when I meet people. They have really huge goals, but there's no specifics to the goal. And so this is what it says. What can I do to double sales in 6 months? Yours could be, what can I do to lose weight in 6 months? Okay. Now you all have the elements of a great question. Listen, it's a big goal and it's specific. You're doubling sales, that is not easy, or you're losing a certain amount of weight and that is not easy. But you also attach a time frame of 6 months, which will be challenging, but you can do it. You'll need a big answer. You'll have to stretch what you believe is possible and look outside the standard toolbox of solutions. Do you see the difference? When you ask great questions, your essence is pursuing a great goal. So we ain't just gonna go big. We're gonna go big and we're gonna be specific. Okay? All right. So the question you might ask is, how do you find the great answer? Well, here we are on page 123. It says answers come in 3 categories: double, stretch, and possibility. The easiest answer you can seek is the ones that already are within reach of your knowledge, skill, and experience. Those are doable. They're most likely to achieve. Like, we've all had doable goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all applied for the job, went outside our comfort zone and did that and got the job. Like, you've done something that has been measurably doable. Okay? Now, this is the thing. The next level to just doable is the stretch answer. Okay, well, this is still within your reach. It can be at the farthest end of your range. You'll most likely have to do some research and study what others have done to come up with the answer. Think of this as potentially achievable and probable depending on your effort. And I'm using a job in relation because I feel like we've all had a job before. Even if you're a full-time entrepreneur, it's still a job, but like a corporate job. We've all applied for maybe a higher position. Like, you started off as a regular employee, then you applied for the manager's position. Or as an entrepreneur, you took the leap to get your license to become a realtor. Or you took your leap to become a licensed hairstylist. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that was cool. You stretched. You had to study a little bit. You did some research. Okay, that's great. You stretched yourself. So let's get into the possibility, though. See, this is where a lot of people get stuck. Okay? And it says here, highly successful people choose to live at the outer limits of achievement. They not only dream, but they deeply crave what is beyond their natural grasp. Okay? If you want the most of your answer, you must realize that it lives outside your comfort zone. Do you hear me? You have to live out the impossibility. Okay? Like, what you think is impossible, that's what you should be reaching for to make it possible. All right? The outer limits, the outside of your comfort zone. We've done doable. We've done stretch. Now let's do possibility. Okay? If you want that, you are going to have to get extremely uncomfortable. To go from the employee to the manager, okay, that was a stretch. Now to go to the manager to the owner, you get what I'm saying? Let's think about the possibilities of that. A possibility, it says here on page 124, a possibility answer exists beyond what is already known and being done. As with a stretch goal, you can start out by doing research and studying the lives of other high achievers, but you can't stop there. In fact, your search has just begun. Whatever you learn, you'll use it to do what only the greatest achievers do: benchmark and trend. It's kind of like, why learn all of these things and not put it into action? And the thing is, it says here, which I like on page 125, it says, anytime you don't know the answer, your answer is to go find the answer. A lot of people be having these big goals, but no specifics, and then get bogged down instead of going to look for the answer. Okay? It just makes me think back, even when it was doing this podcast, I was like, how in the heck I'm going to be consistent putting out an episode every Monday and doing all these things and figuring out equipment and how to yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, okay, girl, go find an answer. And then study the people that you want to be like and blueprinting and figure it out. Y'all, you got to figure it out. Okay? And figuring it out is getting uncomfortable. So yeah. Also on page 126, it says this: because your answer will be original, you'll probably have to reinvent yourself in some way to implement it. A new answer usually requires new behavior. So don't be surprised if along the way to a sizable success, you change the process, but don't let that stop you. As challenging as it can be, trailblazing up to the path of possibilities is always worth it. For when we maximize our reach, we maximize our life. What type of life are you going to live? Are you going to live a doable life? That sounds so lame to just be doable. I know God didn't make us to just be doable. No one wants to be just doable. Okay? Think about that. Like, I want to look at the possibilities so huge that it freaks me out. Like, I want to be scared of it, okay? And you have to start somewhere, okay? But I want you to think big and be specific on those things, okay? So, yeah, let's go big, or let's just be doable. No, I want to go big, and I want to be specific about it. Okay. All right. So that was chapter 12, the path to great answers. All right. So we've covered the lies and the truth. Okay. In part 1 and part 2. Now let's get into the introduction of part 3, which is extraordinary results, unlocking the possibilities within you. Okay. Unlocking the possibilities involves purpose, priority, and productivity. Now, that's a PPP loan package that you need to be applying for. Okay? And it talks about that. Let me stop playing with y'all. Ooh, now, that's a PPP loan you ain't got to pay back either. You hear me? All right. On page 132, it says, your big one thing is your purpose, and your small one thing is the priority you take action on to achieve it. The most productive people start with purpose and use it like a compass. They allow purpose to be the guiding force in determining the priority that drives their actions. This is the straightest path to extraordinary results. Listen. Again, they allow purpose to be the guiding force in determining the priority that drive their actions. And listen, when you start getting to different levels of success, it's going to require new things, and the purpose could change. I feel like there's purpose levels. Like, your purpose in this moment is to get to this level. Now, when you get to that next level, it's going to take a different drive, and the purpose could shift to be greater because you've already gotten to that doable. You've gotten to the stretch. Now we're going to get to the possibilities. And I feel like each level restarts in that way. Okay. And I like in this illustration in the book, it has like a mountain, like an iceberg and water. And at the tip of the iceberg is productivity. The next level is priority. And then the bottom foundation of it is purpose. And it says here, productivity is driven by purpose and priority. It's going to be hard to be productive if there's no purpose or priority attached to it. Okay. It's levels to this. All right, y'all. So let's hop on board. Okay. All right. And then on top of productivity, at the tippy top, there's profit. Okay? So we have to build the house correctly. We have to start with purpose, and then we have to start with priority, and then we have to start with productivity, and then we see the money. Okay? I told y'all we're going to get to the bag. On page 134, it says here, all business people want productivity and profit, but too many fail to realize that the best path to attaining them is through purpose-driven priority. Personal productivity is the building block of all business profit. The two are inseparable. A business can't have unproductive people, yet magically still have an immiscible profitable business. Great businesses are built one productive person at a time, okay? Connecting purpose, priority, and productivity determines how high above the rest successful individuals and profitable business rise. Understanding this is at the core of producing extraordinary results. Personal productivity is the building block of all businesses. Personal productivity. That makes me also think of the fact that there is no such thing as work-life balance, like we said before. When you play, you play. When you work, you work. Okay? We got to understand personal productivity and put it in its place. Okay? That is just the introduction of part 3. We're going to start chapter 13 next week, Live with Purpose. You don't want to miss that. And it's just a little taste. It says, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. So you don't come back next week. You don't want to miss us diving into that. All right. So let's get into the challenge of the week. You know, I cannot let you leave this episode without something actionable. And remember, every challenge that I give y'all, I've done it. I'm not going to give you something that I haven't done. Like, seriously. Okay. I want you to think of the possibilities, which was inspired on page 128 of our book, The One Thing. It says, think possibilities. Setting a doable goal is almost like creating a task to check off your list. A stretch goal is the most challenging. It aims you at the edge of your current abilities. You have to stretch to reach it. The best goal explores what's possible. When you see people in businesses that have undergone transformation, this is where they live. So this week, I ain't gonna scare you too much by going into the possibilities, but I want you to stretch what you're currently is doable. And everybody have a different level of doable. Like, I feel like my level of doable right now is recording a podcast and dropping it on Mondays. I got that. A year straight in, going on year 2, this has become doable. Now I need to stretch myself. And stretching myself is doing and hosting events. Oh, yes, stretching outside of just my crew audience. You know what I'm saying? So I want you this week to find something to stretch what you've already made doable. Stop playing with yourself, okay? Trust me, we've all done the doable, like I said. We got the job, we got the license, we talked to the guy, we went to the gym. Most have done those things. Now I need you to apply for the higher position. I need you to run instead of walk. I want you to explore, okay, what you haven't been exploring because of your fear. That's what I want you to do. This week, I want you to undergo a transformation, okay? I don't know what that is, but you know what it is. You half the time, y'all, we already know what we need to be doing more of, and we just refuse to do it. So this week, I want you to put your big girl panties on, and I want you to go and transform yourself by doing the things that you've already done doable and stretching yourself just a little bit. So next weekend, we can hop into those possibilities. All right. So that was the challenge of the week. All right. Now let's get into what would the crew do? Ask advice. You can always email thecrewbookclub@gmail.com, or you can DM at the Crew Book Club. And this one came from my IG, and they said, I made some New Year's resolutions and I'm trying to figure out how to stick to them. Can you give any advice on sticking to them? Stick to them. I mean, there you go. Stick to them. It's not a dumb question either. I'm just, you know the answer to these. Y'all know the answers. Stick to it. Now, if you're stuck or what to do next. Like say you've kind of, or maybe you mean you're getting comfortable. You're getting too comfortable and it's not driving you. Maybe we need to think about, what did we just talk about? We just talked about, where's the mountain? I need the mountain picture. Productivity, priority, and purpose. Maybe the purpose is not big enough for you to be productive, for you to stick to the goal. You know what I'm saying? Why are you, the resolutions that you chose, why did you choose them? Did you choose them because society told you should be choosing these things to lose weight? Or like, why are you losing weight? What's the goal? Is it to be fine or is it to be healthy? And this is what's best for you. Like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe the purpose isn't big enough or the right purpose for you to make it a priority for you to be productive. So you probably need to evaluate your New Year's resolutions to see if they align with what's within you and not what society is telling you to do. Oh, I need you to lock in with God to guide you in that way. And are you doing it selfishly? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's your intent of the solutions that you chose? So revisit that, because you need to build on the purpose of it so you can make it a priority. That way you can allow yourself to be productive in your New Year's resolutions. Okay? All right. So that was What Would the Crew Do? Ask advice. Do not hesitate to DM and ask your questions or email thecrewbookclub@gmail.com. All right. So now you know I can't let you go without ending the episode with the quote of the week. The quote of the week comes from what I said earlier. People do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. By F.M. Alexander. So crew, what you gonna do? What habits do you need to be doing right now to decide your future? All right. Thanks for tuning into the Crew Book Club podcast. I will holler at y'all next week. Hey. Want to be a part of the crew? Hit that follow button so you'll never miss an episode. And while you're at it, I would appreciate you showing crew love by rating the show on iTunes and Spotify. Don't keep all this goodness to yourself. Share and tell a friend so your whole crew can be growing with you. Let me be the first to tell you, welcome to the crew.